And knowing the woman that I know as Cedra Lewis Baird, an independent thinker, yes, a very forward person, somebody who doesn't like to sit back to take orders, she rather give the orders because she knows what she's talking about. This evening I send blessings and praises to my friend, my schoolmate, my dearest customer, because I used to be her beautician, and when she became a patron of my shop, she brought the whole of Charlotteville with her. Everybody from Charlotteville who came to my shop came because of Cedra and her hair. So your grandmother, your Auntie Linty, everybody, Donna May, everybody was in my shop. So praises this evening. So hearing what you saying about your mom and the movements you guys made from Westchester, give us what happened and which school you went to, which school you went to. So you used to go to school in Westchester.
So I went to middle school in Westchester. I did all of 7th grade and half of 8th grade in Westchester. And the last January, I came to school in Brooklyn. And that was a whole different culture shock now, because I went from Tobago to Westchester to Brooklyn. And going from Tobago to Westchester is a whole bunch of culture shock, because I was probably one of maybe there were 20-25 Black kids in the school as a whole. There were 3 in my class in Westchester, you know. So that was just one of the things there. And then coming to Brooklyn, it was just a whole different ball game from going to school in Westchester. Now you can, as a teacher, looking into it with educational eyes, you can see why weren't the schools in Westchester like the schools in Brooklyn? And you could see the inequities in the system, which we could talk about a little bit later on, and when we talk about work and career and so on. But came to school in Brooklyn, and high school, I went to Clara Barton High School. It's a high school for health professions in Brooklyn.
Clara Barton, say it loud. Clara Barton, welcome. Yes, hallelujah.
And while I was going to Clara Barton, my mom was going to Medgar College, which is just like not even a 5-minute walk away from
each other. Yes. We used to live Midwood Street between New York and Nostrand.
Well, we lived on Midwood as well too. We lived on the same block. We lived on the when we lived Westchester, and moved to Brooklyn. We were on Midwood, 364 Midwood, between Nostrand and New York.
Well, we were 388 Midwood.
And there was the red laundromat right on the corner there, and everything like that. And I used to go to I-61 on Empire in New York.
There's where my son went also.
Lefferts, he went to Atwell.
Lefferts, right on Empire Boulevard.
Yeah, yes. I went to Atwell. Blackstone, Atwell.
Yes, Winston went there.
I mean, this is jumping back to junior high school, but when I came from Westchester, I made the honor roll at Atwell. I remember being in the Arista Prep Society there at Lefferts at Gladstone Atwell. So what about you? I had Mr. Flam or Mr. Forbes as a teacher when you have time.
Yes,
Mr. Flam or Mr. Forbes.
Mr. Forbes, yes. And you also went to SUNY Buffalo.
I went to SUNY Buffalo as well too.
And there's where Winston went to.
That's where Winston went as well too.
Yeah, that's where he got his bachelor's from.
Yep, that's where I got my bachelor's as well too. Good old UB.
Oh my goodness! So you see,
I'm surprised that Winston and our paths never crossed. That's what our paths really never crossed in all of those places where we've been in common. It's really interesting that our paths really never crossed in that way.
But you know what, Winston? Well, at least he was a baby at the time. He was very young. And when he went into, just like you, I believe he went into college very young. I think at 17 he went into college. All you went into college.
17,
yes. Oh my goodness. So your story from there, how was it like going to the middle school and Clara Barton?
Middle school was middle school was a rough experience for me because one, you're in an environment where you're coming from Tobago, you're an island kid, your accent, people gonna make fun of it, you know. And then when you come to Brooklyn and you're, I mean, I would say I'm not a very class conscious
You
person
went to
because
UB.
probably the way I was raised, probably because of the way I was raised. But like I remember in the 90s when you came to Brooklyn, being in the 90s was very difficult in Brooklyn. And it was, I remember going to middle school. And as an adult,
See,
that
take a peek.
I, one of the things that I, um, as an adult growing up in Brooklyn, I regret not knowing Haitian Creole because I lived around so many Haitian people. But in the 90s, when you came to Brooklyn, being from Haiti was one of the worst places to be from, you know, and kids would make fun of you in school and so on for all of those things, you
Keino,
know.
hold on. Yes. Winston is coming to saying hello and hi.
Hey.
You'll be
Hey,
yes.
Winston, how are you, fellow UB alumni?
Good
What
to
year
see you,
did you go
man.
to UB, buddy?
I can't hear you.
What year?
What years you went to UB?
Let's see.
Hold on. He's gonna use his 2004 to 2009.
Oh, you went to two. Okay,
Hold
so
on,
I
Keino.
left UB.
He's
There you
hold
go.
on.
Yeah, you could use this one.
Yes, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was asking what year you went to UB.
Oh yeah, it was 2004 to 2009.
So that's why we didn't interact because I left UB in 2003. I left
Oh,
UB. I went
okay,
to
yeah,
UB
yeah, yeah.
from 99 to 2003. So we did not overlap those 4 years. But in yeah. So that's why
And you went to your middle school.
Oh,
middle
really? You
school I
went
went,
to MS 61 too?
61. I
Oh,
went to
wow.
61 as well too
Small
because
world,
I
eh?
used to live right on Midwood there between
Mm-hmm.
Nostrand and New York, and your mom was sharing
That's
that with
stuff I'm
me
doing.
as well too.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
He said
but
he
I
said
earlier
he said a beautiful prayer for you.
Thank you
I was
so much. It's
expressing
been
condolences. I was expressing condolences on the loss to your whole Black Panther family, and I really like that whole crew. And if you could say hi to Lupita Nyong'o for me, that's my crush.
I will, I
That is
will, I
that
will,
is his
I will.
crush.
I spoke to her the other day. I'll relay the crush. I'll relay the
Okay,
And
crush.
he was living on the block too, by where we
It's
live.
amazing.
To the 60 to the 65?
yeah, 364, 364.
Oh wow.
365, we are
We're
388.
treated here.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, small
Well,
worlds,
yes, small.
Very
very
small
small
world.
world.
Well,
And now
say
you're talking to my mother. It's beautiful.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. His
now
mom
I'm
from
talking to your
Charlotteville. Yes.
now I'm talking to your mom. And I usually tell people, if you know the movie Black Panther, I know Winston Duke's mom and so on. We go way back from
That's
Tobago and
crazy.
everything like that. So
And you
so
also
Talk to him about Miss Winston shop with all the comic books.
you were next
You,
to the comic book store up there.
yes, the comic
Yeah.
store that Winston, the
That's
guy
where
named
yeah,
Winston,
yeah,
well,
my
he didn't
two.
live there. He didn't live in
Okay,
that shop.
you
yeah.
lived in
Yeah,
that
yeah. That's
comic book.
where I
Oh,
first
okay,
picked up comics and she used to give me free
okay.
comics for a little
Yeah,
while
I
just
wasn't
to
into
read.
comics like that, but I
Hmm.
remember that comic book shop right at the
They were
corner,
fantastic.
there, and the laundromat on the opposite side, and so on. Very nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Okay, bye.
Very nice.
I'm
Bye,
being kicked
Winston.
off, but
Yeah,
thank you so
it's your
much,
mom's
brother.
show. Yeah, nice, and keep up all the good work that you're doing.
Always. Same to you.
Yes, have
Bless.
a good one.
Yes, thank you so much, son.
Thank you for that, Mama Coco.
You welcome. You welcome. I couldn't do differently because he was
Yes,
passing, and he passing exactly the time when you speaking about UB. Okay, Kino,
yeah.
let me get back my stuff right.
Okay, but one of the in regards to teachers, and I don't want to forget not mentioning this tonight.
Yes.
In that 1 month that I went to Scarborough Sec, that one month that I went to Scarborough Sec, one of the persons that had a huge impact on me when I tell you a tremendous impact on me was Mrs. Solomon. She taught me social studies for 1 month. And I would say she had one of the biggest impacts on my life. And I remember when I was getting ready to leave Scarborough Sec, she gave me a nice little going away, little farewell with the kids and everything like that. So Mrs. Solomon, Lucretia Solomon, Mrs. Solomon,
Yes.
she is she's my all times by far my most influential and impactful teacher.
Oh, Keino, this is so much history. I see your mom saying that we walk the same path. Yes, Cedar,
Very
we
much the
did.
same, very much the
Because
same path,
and
very
because
much.
one of the story with you, Keino, you started out wanting to be a doctor, no?
I did. I mean, okay, so let's clarify that. I think that was more people's expectations projected onto me than you really what was coming from innate within me. And at this stage in my life, I can say that wasn't the path that I was supposed to take. This is the path that I was supposed to take, because if that was the path that I was supposed to take, we weren't going to be able to have this conversation that we're having here tonight, because it would have just been a different journey. And I appreciate my journey. I appreciate telling my story, because it's in the telling of my story I'm able to connect all the pieces for me. So one of the things, I think that's something that was sort of kind of wanting to be a doctor. And
Who wanted it for you?
I think that was more something coming from family expectations and everything, because it's what we know, coming from Tobago, it's what we know. And I wanted to know something else, and I found things that I naturally gravitated to in high school, subjects that I like, and those are the subjects that I still deal up in today, and that really grounds my work and really shapes who I am. So in regards to those things, I really don't want things to be projected onto me. I rather me find my path, and I think I found my path very well.
I think your mom told me that too. She said, "You're doing great. He's doing just what he cut out
What
to
I
do
want
in
to do
this life."
and
Yes,
what I want to do. I
yes.
don't get up a day and say, you know what, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to this work or anything. I get up every day and say, I want to do this,
Yay.
because I enjoy it. I don't get up and say, oh God, it's Monday again. I look forward to Mondays. I don't look forward to
Oh,
Fridays. I don't thank God just because it's Friday. Every day is a day for me. And every day is a day for me to grow and a day to continuously evolve. And that's the path that I'm on, a path of
oh,
continuous
Keino.
evolution.
Keino, you're making my skin move, man.
Oh, really?
What you want to be. I love that. And what you cut out to be, what you want to be.
And
Wow.
I don't want to borrow from Michelle Obama, but I think life is more about always becoming,
Yes.
and always becoming. And the person who I was 3 years ago, I'm no longer that person. And the person that I am today, 8 months from now, I don't want to be that person. So I just want to keep evolving and looking for what's next and so on.
That's who you
That's
are.
who I am. Yeah.
Oh, Keino Sledge, you're slamming, boy. You're sledging, you're hitting hard, boy. So let's take a break, Keino. Keino, I love you. I
Okay,
respect
thank
you.
you.
I used to always,
Likewise.
your mom, and your mom and Lynette Powder are the two women, that I used to hold conversations with like very often. Like when we on the phone, like
Mm-hmm.
nobody and want to come off. Sometimes I say, oh gosh, I'm tired. But as we got to stop, something new coming up, something about Keino, something about the daughter, something about Cindy, something about my son. We always on the phone talking. Lynette talking about her life and her son and stuff like that. So we always used to be on the phone, because sometimes I will hear about Cedra through Lynette. I will hear about Lynette through Cedra. We will always ask and inquire of each. And I'm
Yes.
so proud. When
someone in the
we are
chat.
we're gonna have a break for 60
Okay.
seconds and we will be back.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're watching Live with Mama Coco, a current affairs and lifestyle program that touches on what matters to you. Know someone who would benefit from watching this live? Go ahead and share it. Know someone who would be a great guest for Live with Mama Coco? Go onto our booking page to enter their contact information or call 702-577-0848 to talk to a member of our team. Want to take a piece of the show with you? Then don't forget to check out Mama Coco's Life and Style shop, where you can purchase copies of Mama Coco's book, Unbreakable Spirit, or get your emblazoned apparel with some of Mama Coco's favorite sayings and one-of-a-kind artwork. Live with Mama Coco is produced and distributed by Girl Powered Success and Survival International.
Hello, hello, hello. We are back. We are back. This is Mama Coco, Life and Style. My name is Cora Pantin, your sister. And I'm here this evening and we are in a zone. The zone that we are in is with a young man. A young man that have more answers than questions. So I'm leaving it up to you, my people. We'll be giving you a chance to ask questions and Keino will answer. So welcome back, Keino Baird. Yes, young man from Charlotteville, Tobago. We just got, all we get to hear was his childhood. So now we are going to get into the adult. We are going to speak to the adult man now. The adult man. Yes.
Okay.
Right, Keino?
Sure.
So Keino,
So
tell us
right
about,
before you went off, somebody had posted in the chat about growth mindset. And it's like one of the things that's on the postcards that I see every day when I wake up. Growth mindset always, you know, and it's just one of the philosophies that really governs my life. And it's just a habit that I take, is that whole idea of growth mindset. And it's always grow through it. You know, if it ain't kill you, it's going to make you stronger. Grow through it and grow up with it and so on. But growth mindset is one of the things that I do there daily. But you can continue.
Yes. So I love the growth mindset, because I have this saying that I usually say all the time. What didn't kill me made me wiser. Not even stronger. It made me wiser, because you see, knowledge is power. Because sometimes even if you grow with the strength, or you grow with more strength, without knowledge, your strength will be weakness. So what didn't kill me made me stronger. So Keino, tell us about your educational journey, immigration, high school, university, and beyond. So we are in university beyond now.
Okay, so I went to UB, like you know, and after UB, I wanted to figure out what next is what I'm gonna do next after UB. Go ahead.
Tell them the meaning of UB.
UB is the University at Buffalo. We just shorthand it as UB, University at Buffalo. So
because
I like
Buffalo have two universities.
Yes,
so you have to define which one.
Buff State and UB. And I love winter and I love snow, and that's because of Buffalo. Okay, that's what got me into winter. So I really don't mind the winters that much, because I lived in Buffalo and we used to have lake effect snow. So I know a lot about that. But after Buffalo, in Buffalo, I studied two things. I studied history and political science. Those are the two things that I studied. And when I left Buffalo, I immediately started teaching and went to grad school. You know, so I came back to Brooklyn and I started teaching middle school. So first form, second form, that age group there, standard 5, first form, second form, I started teaching that age group when I came back to Brooklyn, and I taught in the classroom for about 7 years.
Oh, so you went to UB, the State
Mm-hmm.
University of Buffalo. Yes? And
Mm-hmm.
when you leave there, you came straight back to
To
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
You didn't
Mm-hmm.
stay you didn't stay in Buffalo.
No, I only spent 4 years in Buffalo, and I came straight back to Brooklyn.
And when you came
You
back, you
know,
start working, teaching.
sometimes I wonder if that was a mistake or not. But I started teaching when I came back that was in 2003.
So
Yep.
why you have any second thought of Buffalo? Buffalo
Well,
is a
maybe
very
because
sleepy.
I love Buffalo actually. I really enjoyed Buffalo, and maybe it's sometimes I say if I could settle back in another city, I would go back to Buffalo and live.
Uh-huh.
I won't mind it as a place where I could possibly go and live. But I probably say that too about anywhere I probably go and visit too. I don't mind living here.
Yeah, yes. Well, we will get to know that, seeing that you don't only stay America, you back and forth in Tobago.
Rolling Stone.
Yes. So just tell us now, Keino, tell us about the life and the career that you have built for yourself.
Okay, so in regards to career, I do a lot of things. You know, I don't define career as a job per se. I I've done many jobs throughout my journey, but what I am at my core is a teacher. You know, I'm a
Hmm.
teacher at my core because when I left, I taught for 7 years. I was a social studies history teacher, civics teacher. And then after 7 years in the classroom and deciding to go back to Tobago, I didn't take a job as a teacher. I took a job as a journalist when I went back to Tobago to live. So part of my career journey or career trajectory has been that of a writer, a journalist as well. When I came back, I began developing a consulting practice, you know, sort of kind of putting myself out there, not just as a teacher, but as a instructional coach, a professional learning facilitator. So most of my work, I still stay in the field of education, still working in schools. Prior to COVID, I was going into schools a couple of times a week doing trainings and so on with teachers as a coach, as a professional learning facilitator, but pretty much consulting. So I really don't work for anybody. I work maybe with a few different companies as a consultant, and I do a lot of my own things. So, but at the core of me, what I am at my core is a teacher because I really value teaching and learning. Those are the two things that I value.
So you're not only teaching kids, you're teaching adults.
I teach adults as well, mostly teachers. You know, I've taught I adjunct a little bit for a while. So I would teach people who are now getting ready to become teachers. So student teachers as well. I coached student teachers as well for a couple of semesters while I taught at Lehman College in the Bronx and Hunter College in Manhattan
Manhattan.
in the CUNY system. You know, but I didn't like that academic life. I really did not like academic life, but I like teaching. You know, I really
Hmm.
like teaching. I mean, throughout the course of my day, even now, the favorite part of my day is actually when I'm actually teaching.
Keino, wealth of information, talented young man. May the God of all peace keep you in perfect peace and keep
Thank
you
you.
enlightened and keep you ready to do your master's will.
You know,
Keino,
so in terms of job, I don't say I don't have wear
a
one
career.
hat in terms of a job or something. I do a lot of things. Like the latest thing I'm doing right now is training to become a data scientist, you know, and I'm a few months away from that, but right now I'm training to become a data scientist. And if you ask me what that is, it's a lot of things, but something as simple as you're on your Facebook feed and you're wondering to know why that advertisement is popping up there, it's an algorithm that's behind it. So for me, it's about continually learning and continuously evolving. and being able to do a lot of different things. And the next thing I want to do, and probably one of the last things I may do, like in terms of like professional training, is that like of a data scientist, because it's a very marketable skill. And it's needed just because we live in a world where there's just so much data and we have to be able to understand it and interpret it. And that's what a data scientist does.
Get out. Get out. Put your clothes on, though. Put your clothes on, but get out. I am telling you, people, we don't know what we have. You don't know what we're moving around with very casually, but the kind of impact that Trinidad and Tobago citizens have in them and will create. We just need a chance. We just need an opportunity. I'm just so happy that I am here along with my daughter to present to the world Keino Baird.
I'm
Boom.
glad to be here. So I'm seeing a question on the screen.
Yes. Keino,
Okay,
what was
is
it like to return to Tobago and see the island and your people with the gaze of a journalism?
Okay, a journalist. So what I would say,
A
I was
journalist.
not a trained journalist when I went back to Tobago. I didn't go to school. I didn't study journalism. I studied history and political science. That alone, I was able to tell a story. So I was able to write good stories. Actually, I covered the 2013 THA election as well. But I believe as a journalist, as someone who writes, as someone who I function in that capacity as a teacher. So even while I was at the newspaper, having this role as a journalist, I mean, I was even assistant editor of the paper for a few months. I was functioning in the capacity of a teacher. And I was exposed to the community of media personnel that's there. So I know some of the media personnel that's in Tobago, but what I saw was a need. The media, I believe, has a role and a responsibility to be able to raise the level of public discourse. And one of the ways in which I was able to really take that seriously, I remember after 12-0 in 2013, when PNM won all the seats in the THA election and there was no opposition. At that point, the role of the media had to be elevated at that specific juncture, because there was no elected duly opposition that's part of a government,
Yes.
a state, and the media had to be the ones that were able to ask the questions. So I remember being functioning at that point, being able to be there during those early months of 12-0 from 2013, and functioning in the role as a reporter at that time. And from that, I realized that the role of the media, that we have a level to be able to raise the level of public discourse. And a lot of times that's not happening.
So what do you think about that? This 12-0 with no opposition and people feeling proud of that. That was a proud moment for you?
Well, okay, so I will talk as a reporter. As a reporter, I had to look at it with non-biased eyes, yes, obviously. But as a human being, it was one of the greatest things. It was a great era, I mean, elections are one, you have to win an election. They didn't win a seat, but the lack of accountability, that's like on a banana peel and you're sliding to hell. That's what that's like. With no accountability, somebody has to be there to help with the help with the accountability, and that did not happen between 2013 and 2017. And in regards to accountability and account issues, there are a lot of questions that the media should have been asking. I feel as though that the media did not ask during that point.
So what company you were working with?
I was working with the Tobago News. Actually, I worked with the Tobago News while I was there.
How was it there for you?
It was an experience. I met some really good people in the office. I was able, some really good people. We had some really good staff members that were there, especially the ones who, the people who really hold the office down. Not necessarily the people who are running the office, but the ones who hold the office down, like the secretaries and everything like that. Those are the people I really respect when I work at a place, because those are the people who get stuff done. But it was the secretaries, and there were 2 secretaries that were in the office that made my time at the paper really enjoyable.
You want to name them or not?
One was Miss McClatchy, and one was Onika, and Onika and I are friends now.
Tell me, what caused the biasness? What caused that biasness with the media not being able to be original?
Well, I think one of the things you have to look at is in Tobago, you realize we have a very small media. Okay, it's a small island and it's a small media. In regards to and the expectation in how we do our jobs. When I perform a job, I want to be the best at what I do. And I don't know, I don't want to play off Melania Trump in terms of being best or anything like that. But in terms of when I do a job, it's only going to be done the Keino way. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the Keino way is an informed way. You understand? And not necessarily and trying to come back to me. I remember my first day working in the office. And one of the things that the editor of the paper told me at the time, he said, write the story, don't become a part of the story. You understand? And I think
Yes.
sometimes with a lot of media practitioners, for whatever it is, I don't know if it's not enough training. I don't know if it's not a greater expectation on the demand of the public. I think it's a matter of I think a lot of in that role, a lot of power can go to your head. Okay, if you know what I'm saying, and
Yes.
it could be the power of association.
Hmm.
Okay, and when some people, I don't know if when some people have that association of power, they don't really know how to use it carefully, and really know how to create the balance between you being a media personnel and the people who you're interacting with, the public, and the public in various levels. So from politician down on, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah, I understand you. And what about with religion? When you see religion and news media, what is going on? Do you think
With,
that the news media should be more open, speaking to church and about church?
so I think media and religion are two very separate things, and I don't want to confuse media and the role of what role religion and or church should play. However, because I think that is when we look at the role that the church has played, and especially when you look at our contemporary society as is, when I look at Tobago, when I look at, let's say, Charlotteville per se, and begin to talk about the role of church, it's really hard for me to talk about media and the role of church in the same thing there. So if we can tease that out a little bit more, it would be a little bit helpful.
You mean if I could tease it out a little bit more?
Yeah, because I mean, or because I
Yes.
don't want to go down the wrong
What
path
what
about
I
it.
mean to say, we have news media being too affiliated with the church. They were in the church, plus they were in the politics the same way. So leaving the people who don't belong to your church.
Okay, I understand you. I understand. So people, we have to know in many hats that we wear, we have to know how to separate various different roles. Okay, because like in my teaching, as much as I have a spiritual core to me, in my teaching, that is something that's not really, it's present, internally present, but it's not something that's verbalized. So I think people really don't know how to sometimes separate, put different things in different buckets. And I believe in putting different things in different buckets. This is church, and I'm not saying the influence of church should only stay within the church, but once you function in a role, okay, once you're functioning in a role, and especially if that's a public facing role, you have to be able to now know things like, okay,
We have it a
how do
little
I
bit.
now treat, how do I treat people? I It shouldn't have to do anything what they might belong to or anything like that. If you understand what I'm saying, if I'm answering that question correctly.
You answered it correctly. I just want to ask you now. So while you were there, we have a very famous news reporter in Tobago, because I know we don't, as you said, the faculty is very small, very limited. Her name is Liz Williams. She performed in a way that I don't believe she was professional during this past election. Do you know Liz?
I do know Liz. Yes, I know Liz.
And have you worked with Liz?
I've worked with Liz before. In fact, I've supervised Liz's work while I was the assistant editor at the Tobago News, and she worked because Tobago News was affiliated closely with the Express, and she worked with Express as well as a journalist. A lot of journalists freelance, so I did have some interaction with Liz.
Okay, I wouldn't go further, but I just want to ask you: do you think that the news media that we have in our country, they are too affiliated with the political party PNA?
Well, so what I would say that coming back to that, I think sometimes power gasses up media personnel heads in terms of their association with power. Okay, I won't say they're more associated with PNM or anything, because while I was there, it was UNC that was in power nationally, and different governments have their different interactions with reporters. And you're constantly working with these people, but you have to know how to create the balance between them and not easily be influenced. You have to know when to ask them the hard questions and not necessarily trying to, you look like you're trying to be chummy buddy chum with them, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes. Well, those are my questions there. Seeing that you will be back for your round 2, let's go on. Keino, what is your impression of the state of Tobago East, with emphasis on northeastern Tobago?
Okay, so Tobago East is the northeast of Tobago. So I'm talking about that area from Roxborough, go all the way back on the north coast back to Castara. That's what I consider northeast there. I really love that area. I love the rainforest. Spent a number of time in the rainforest. I just like driving through the rainforest. Sometimes I like stopping and hearing the hummingbirds and so on. I like going by Bloody Bay. I like going to Charlotteville, Castara. I really love those areas because I'm really familiar with it and so on. In regards to the culture, I think the culture is just the rural and rustic culture. I really enjoy that. You can't get more down to home as the people from Charlotteville and Lansumi and all of those places like that. In regards to access, one of the things that I would say about the area, it's an area that really needs access in terms of things like, better internet access, in places like Lansumi and Charlotteville and so on, better signaling access, and so on. Having more things placed to the people, like one of the things, like I believe, like a lot of the fishermen on that side of the island need is a gas station on that side of the island. They shouldn't have to be leaving Castara.
Say it again.
They need a gas station on that side of the island. So my uncles and them sometimes leave Charlotteville and have to drive through the rainforest to get gas in Roxborough, leave Castara and have to get gas in Roxborough. So maybe a gas station on that end of the island would be really beneficial for that. And just bringing a lot more services closer to the people in that area. I mean, Roxborough right now, we've seen over the last few years, we've seen the drive for development, and I won't even define that by development, because that's not how I don't define building buildings as development. I'm really more focused on people-centered development when I'm talking about development. So putting up a building is not really development to me. I'm more in terms of developing minds and developing hearts and probably developing souls as well too. But I mean, we saw the access places, like I see a new police station, fire station, and so on in Roxborough. Those things are good. But here's what: we're not supposed to commend government for those things, because those things are the expectation that you're just normally supposed to have. Those are expectations, and the fact is, as people, we don't want enough. So I'm not commending no government for building a hospital. You're supposed to build a hospital. I'm not commending government for building a school. These are the things that you are supposed to do in this, what do you call it? The social contract that we have between the state and the citizen. These are things that you're supposed to do. So don't tell me, oh, you build
basic contract.
It's a basic contract. So those are not accomplishments. Those are not accomplishments. And we as a people need to expect more. You fixing the road is not an accomplishment. Just fix the road. Okay? Fix the road so everybody can drive across on the road. I'm not gonna sing your praises for basic infrastructure development. And that's one of the things coming out from this colonial society that we're in. We need to up our expectations. And maybe my expectations got up because I lived in New York, but the expectations that I have, I don't have an expectation of New York City to say, oh, we built hospitals. You're supposed to build hospitals. The hospitals, they've been here for a long time. Now, are they providing good services at the hospitals and so on? But let's just be mindful. And as a people, as Tobagonians, I'm going to start making the demand on all of us that we expect more, raise the level of our overall expectation. At Clarbarn High School, they said nobody rises to low expectation. So our expectations must be up. Those are petty things that you're supposed to do. You're commending on and running a campaign on and wanting to fool people on, well, no, come on.
Jesus.